Hi, Vani. Talk number 2 in English this time.
Hi, Cynthia.
So,
Yes,
yeah. So I just want to explain two things. First, I live in Europe. My English accent is more British than American. And where
fine.
do you live?
Yes, I live in Florida, United States. So my pronunciation is going to be more on the American side.
So I'll
The
say tomato. No,
tomato,
tomato.
though our English, because we met as students, our student English is British.
I know that, but
Yeah,
people are going to be confused. So
I know.
we did our translation studies together many years
Yes,
ago. We're both native Spanish speakers from Argentina, but we thought the topic of our conversation was so important to reach the highest number of people possible that we're doing it in two languages because
right,
my channel is in four languages. So
right.
why not? Why not? So I chose this painting. This is one of my mother's paintings during the pandemic times.
I
Um,
love it.
do you? Okay.
Yes, yes, I
We
like
put
it very much.
another background picture in our talk in Spanish just to, yeah, mark the difference. But I think it's
Yeah,
very representative also of this period and of everything we've been facing throughout the world.
right,
So there you go. Okay.
right.
So
Yes.
would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Vanina Parker. I live in Florida, United States. Um, I met Cynthia like forever.
Ago? Forever
Students in
ago?
Argentina.
Yes.
Um, we stay in touch for all of these years. We shared our life experience. We really appreciate our friendship. And we like to share this with all other friends that are enjoying this video too. So welcome.
Welcome, everybody. And it's really nice because I think you chose a very profound experience in your life. I've been talking with friends all over the world to talk about this COVID-19 experience and how we were facing it in our own personal way. And as I believe, because of my Buddhist practice, that crises are also opportunities to create value. And I think you've used this opportunity to the fullest in your life. And maybe sharing that experience will encourage a lot of people. So I hope it reaches them. I really do.
Yes, yes, exactly. My experience with COVID was really on the good side of it. Number one, because thankfully, none in my family got ever sick so far. At this point, we are vaccinated. And in this area, vaccination is on almost 80% of the population. So
Well,
we can enjoy almost back to normal. Of course, people that on getting the vaccine, they still need to continue, with all of the measures. But I would say that most of the restrictions are almost gone. But during that year, they were progressing with vaccination. I stayed home because I was working in a environment that was not really good for me. I decided to quit, never knowing, as most people, that the pandemic will take so long and will change our lifestyle so much. So I quit my job at the beginning of the pandemic and I stay home.
so we're talking about March 2020, more or less, right?
Correct. Yes. So all of the rest for 2020, I stay home with my husband. First time in my life, I was not working. That felt really unusual.
Weird.
It was a challenge, like getting responsible for your routine, getting some kind of routine. For me, it's healthy to have some kind of routine. Um, and then I said, okay, then this is an opportunity to do things that I normally don't have time to do. I started reading, researching on human nature, which is one of my favorite topics. I'm always curious about people, about how they think, about their personalities. And I didn't know much about myself other than always feeling like I don't fit here, and then I don't fit here, and then where do I fit? So that's when I found Elaine Aron, which is a North American psychologist. She discovered a trait of personality that is called highly sensitive person, and it's 20% of the world population. So we are few, but for my joy, I'm not the only one. Started researching and getting in contact with very good resources that anyone can find online. Number one is a test. How do you know if you're a highly sensitive person? So there are different tests that you can test online. And if you find that 4 of these traits are all together the same person, that's most likely is a highly sensitive
That's
person.
it, yeah. And what are
So,
these 4 traits then?
well, those traits are described in English as DOS, DOES. So number one is deep processing, which implies getting a lot of extra information for the environment, more than average people do. The O stands for overstimulation.
Sorry, for the first one, this is like not just taking it at face value, but processing in a highly, so going very deep into how you process the information that you kind of take from your direct environment.
Yes, yes. You know, one example of this deep processing that I read and I found very interesting. Let's suppose we are in a kindergarten and we have this 3-year-old that is going there for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
So the teacher will open the door and this kid will run into the room and start looking for the toys and the colors and start playing. Then we have this another kid that is also there for the first time. And when the teacher opens the door, he's just stay there and stares.
Right.
For a couple of seconds.
To take it in.
Yes, that's the highly sensitive one.
All right.
So he's not afraid, he's not shy, he's just absorbing information. And then he will pick up exactly what he wants to do. Maybe
yes.
Play with tracks or toys. Maybe it's just going to any other, kind of activity. He's gonna choose with a purpose, not so impulsive,
randomly, like whatever calls your attention. He'll take everything in, process it, and then choose whatever suits his or her mood at that time.
Exactly.
Okay. That's cool. Like we recognize this trait. Okay. Then O stands
for overstimulation. It means that highly sensitive people need to be aware of when to stop, because all of this deep processing can be overwhelming. So you get this alarm in your brain, like, I need to leave, or I need to stop, or I need some downtime. You're gonna find a moment in which you need to stop those stimuli because your brain just can't take that anymore.
Cannot handle it. And
then
when
the number 3,
when we were talking in Spanish, I was telling you this feels like an overload at one point, like your brain just shuts down. This is not hysteria or a moody reaction whatsoever. This is really that your brain is like overload. It cannot function. It cannot take anything in anymore. So you need time out.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. Yeah, I describe it myself as lack of oxygen. If I stop there, I feel like asphyxiated.
You're choking, yes.
exactly.
Well,
That's the sensation that I
it's
have.
kind of a brain choke.
Yes,
Yes,
exactly,
yes.
exactly.
Well, in
Um,
America, people are familiar with brain freeze, but this is something else. It's like brain choke. We've just
exactly.
used the new term, neologists. Okay.
Right,
then,
right.
then,
So then um, number three would be empathy, E. So this refers to very deep, intense empathy. It's not being over emotional. It's not being emotionally overflown. It's really feeling other people pain or anxiety as if it was yours.
right. So it goes beyond compassion or
Yes.
a level of empathy that you can feel, I don't know, in a co-working situation or a family situation. This is like, it feels like whatever the person is feeling is being done to you.
Correct. It's direct.
Yes.
There is
It gets
no
like, it gets under your skin. Sorry.
right.
This is, of course, my mother.
Okay. Yeah, she must be liking that we put that painting, you know.
I think it's because, well, this one is not online yet, but I suppose she just saw the Spanish version online and
Oh
just called it because
yes.
she thought we were done recording.
Oh, probably, yeah.
I'll explain later on. So this level of empathy, we were saying, feels like things get under your skin. You cannot shake them off. It's
Correct.
really, they take over.
Yes, yes, and that's a big task for highly sensitive people to train ourselves not to get carried away with that.
Yes, not to
It's
get
not
caught up and to really be able to take emotional distance.
exactly, and sometimes people don't understand that. Like, notice you're being distanced, and you're just protecting yourself from too much.
Yes.
You know? So,
All right.
so
And then the S.
yes, the last one for das, the S, refers to subtle senses, um, which is also related to this extra sensitive feature in which hot is always hotter, cold is always colder, noisy is always noisier for us. Lightning, we have a lot of sensitivity to light. For example, in my office, I'm always adjusting the level of natural light that I get from the window versus the artificial light that I get. It makes a difference in my efficiency at the office. It can
Yes.
affect
Do you know
performance.
that before moving back to Brussels, in the house you visited actually, in
Yes.
Havre, so I had shutters and I kept the
Mhm.
shutters closed. And many friends would come in and go like, Cynthia, you're in the dark, open, and but it didn't feel right. Sometimes it just didn't feel right, and it's something you cannot explain. You need to, whereas in this apartment, maybe because of the height, or
Yeah.
maybe I don't know, uh, whatever. um,
Different.
I
It's
just
different
I have
environment.
my curtains open all the time. Yes,
You
and
see?
at the office as well. So this is because it's like a time out. It's time to cool down, and you need that sense of silence and half light or dawn. I don't know,
Correct.
something
Correct.
like, yeah. Well, it's
Yes,
personal.
it's the combination of those conditions for us is going to be different every time. So we are constantly adjusting. We are constantly processing a lot of information and adjusting. Um, one of the examples that I found very interesting in one of the videos that I saw from this author is that they call us the canaries of humans because we perceive first, we see things coming first, and we can alert people. Sometimes I think we are overreacting. Sometimes we need to kind of stop ourselves and say, well, okay, I did my part. Then they will have to go and discover by themselves. you know, because most probably we're going to be correct.
But you know, this is really interesting. I was telling you that in my teaching approach, the pedagogy of Krills, my language school is based on value creation and on Gardner's theory of multiple intelligences, which I think is the present and future together with other great thinkers of our time. But that's one
Yes.
of the very telling theories that
Yeah.
got people to change. And I'm actually trying to get a degree in emotional intelligence right now. And after the life coaching and all the language
Uh-huh.
degrees, this is
Yes.
this is something that I'm passionate about. And I think it's a great journey you underwent during pandemic times to take the time to understand what are all these signals, what is this, why am I, you know, the odd one out or the weird
Yes.
one every time in these situations, and what can I do about it? This is the most
Right.
important thing, I think.
Exactly. Exactly. Um, during that downtime that the pandemic inadvertently gave me, yes, I said, let's look inside. There is no much positive going outside in the world right now. Let's focus on ourselves. And maybe that's why I was always missing so much, working on myself. You know, that's really important for highly sensitive people to have our time to connect with the inner world, because
Our essence, with our
it's
essence.
very,
Yeah.
it's very creative. I also had an opportunity to connect with a psychologist from California. We had a couple of online meetings, and this psychologist specializes in neurodiverse relationships.
And
These,
here come the British and American pronunciations, because I say neurodiversity and you say
correct,
neurodiversity, but it's the
correct.
same concept.
Yes. So any of the two versions that you hear,
You can Google.
yeah. And this means when normally one member of the couple is what is called an average brain functioning person versus the other member of the couple being this diverse population in which their brains work differently. We have a wide spectrum of diagnosis, for example, in the range of autism, like Asperger, and all different combinations of attention deficit disorder. You know, you have like different layers of alternative brain processing functions. So my husband happens to be in the Asperger side, and he also suffers some attention deficit. So we were able to work with these therapies and trying to find common ground, because I identify myself as that 20% that processes different. At the same time,
Sensitive, yeah.
yeah, I'm working my
Highly sensitive,
relationship,
yeah.
yes, with a person who is also different in its own right.
Yes.
So this was a great opportunity. We were able to improve a lot of aspects of communications. I was able to open up my mind to understanding the different needs of people when they have these diverse brain functions that are part of their nature. It's not something that you choose. It comes with you from the moment you're born.
Yes.
Another thing I learned very interesting about highly sensitive people, this is a trait that has a genetic component. So over 100 species in nature has been researched and identified that there are these traits in animals. And that was really significant.
Because they have a function, they have a biological function,
Exactly.
which is
Yes.
to alert the group to danger or whatever is coming, I suppose,
Exactly.
in weather-wise and otherwise.
Yes, yes. Can you imagine through all of those thousands of years of evolution in this planet, how important it was to be alert to survive, you know, to identify the risk coming and to alert, from members of your same species, don't go there, or let's stop here, or this is going to be so cold, we can die here. All of those combinations is fine.
Sorry, no, it's just the
Yeah.
we're getting there. So I think there was an unstable connection for a second, and then so we overlapped, but it's all right. I think it was Einstein who said, it's not the survival of the fittest, but of the species of those who can adapt the best.
Exactly. Exactly. So it has a biological function. It has meaning. We are here for a reason. It's not just about being weird or different, or if we don't fit. We can do a lot of wonderful things for the whole species. We can help our, our mates, our brothers, sisters, our family, with our special sensitivity in a good way. Once that we understand what is the function, why nature gave us, this diversity in British. So it was a wonderful discovery.
And I think you said this, sorry to interrupt, but this idea that it can improve communication within, your relationship, but all sorts of relationships, actually. Because if you have a person who's, in Asperger, and there's a beautiful, beautiful book written by a British, Danielle Tammet, Born on a Blue Day. And there are also many, many cases, because it's one of the first Asperger autistic cases that were documented, and there were exchanges between, he was followed by the BBC, and then there were tests run in the United States to document, because he was a highly functioning autistic person who he's actually our contemporary, and who could at that time explain what it felt like and how he saw things. And so I read 2 of his books and watched many hours of videos, because it's really interesting, and also he talks about languages, but that's for another day. And what I was going to point out is this: if a person with Asperger, if you're living or working or, engaging in friendship with somebody who's going to be very blunt and tell it like it is, for a highly sensitive person, it can feel very aggressive, whereas there's nothing aggressive about it. It's just about facts. So they'll tell it like it is, and to you, it feels like a dagger is being,
That's right.
stabbed. Yeah.
That's right.
And so learning that, to take things at face value. So what is being said is what is meant. And these are not your normal social parameters with hypocrisy and all that. No, people are just saying the way they see things. So if you go like with questions like, do I look fat in this? They will tell you, yes, you do. And then you'll feel terribly offended. But it's actually the truth.
Yeah, but this communication, what it's doing is improving our chances to adjust to each other. For example, sometimes we're eating dinner and he's watching a content that is just upsetting my stomach. And he needs to understand. So I need to communicate. I'm sorry, can we watch something more peaceful during dinner? Because it really affects me in a way I can't ignore it, even if I like to.
Sure.
So very simple things like that in everyday life, they really help you to get along and to keep more harmony, at home. It really makes a difference.
And to avoid the stimuli overload that that gets you kind of on your nerves, but really it's the nervous system reacting.
Yeah, because our attention span works completely opposite. As a highly sensitive person, I can perceive 25 different stimulus at the same time. Because of his Asperger, he's going to focus
on one. Yes.
One. So he doesn't perceive that I'm already overwhelmed with the other 24 things that he doesn't perceive. You know?
Yes.
So it's like a balancing act.
Really interesting, Vanya. And why did you want to share this, which is quite a personal experience? And I'm so
Yes.
happy you wanted to share this and that we are sharing it in two languages.
Yes. The reason why I like to share this experience is because all of this time that I was not aware of my trait, I was suffering it
Mhm.
and felt isolated and I felt helpless. And now that I have the resources and I have the knowledge, I can use them for good. I can use them to communicate with people, help them uh, build a network where my features help other people, because that's why I have them. It's not going to be helpful if I just keep them for myself. It's the kind of skill that is going to help your environment. So I like other people who maybe has a relative or someone in a relationship that may have these, or even themselves.
That are wired up differently. Yeah.
Yes, they can take the test, they can verify this on themselves or someone that they know, and that person can start giving these gifts in a positive manner and improving our environment, which is so much needed.
Yeah, and I think once you understand how the system works within yourself, you can also put into place um, solutions, yeah, to things
Yes,
that trigger reactions and you didn't even know it.
yes, exactly, exactly. For example, the first solution that I wanted to put into practice is, how can I choose uh, my next job in a way that is not going to be so frustrating, so stressful? Highly sensitive people, they don't thrive the best in a high pace, stressful environment.
Mhm.
No, we will adjust, but it's going to take a lot of energy. It's going to be very draining for us. And then I thought, okay, as I understand my trade better, and I know how to use those skills and put them to good use, I understand the importance of environment for me. And when I started reapplying for jobs, as the US economy will start reopening after the pandemic, I thought, well, with these all the new opportunities in the job markets, is my moment to choose something more appropriate. So every time I started applying for a job, I would analyze and do some research on the environment.
Wow.
Conditions do you work there? What kind of activity? What kind of value? That is so important for highly sensitive people. Eventually, I landed a job in what I consider the perfect environment for me. Is an office job, which is what I've done most of my life, in a natural park surrounded by the most beautiful, pristine nature and next to the beach, which is another of my dreams came true. This is what happens in your life when you start aligning what you are and researching for opportunities that will make you happier, and also the people around you happy, because you can put those skills in the best use
To good
possible.
use. Yeah, sure, sure.
Yeah,
Fabulous. So you're enjoying the natural landscapes of
exactly. It's the perfect combination
Georgia and the beach. Yeah.
because it's an office job where I can help a lot of people that are taking care of our environment, which is a value so close to my heart.
Lines. Yeah, yeah, totally. Totally.
Exactly. So it worked. It worked for me. It gives me a new perspective of my life, and now I start feeling finally that I fit.
That you fit in.
Yes,
You're part, you belong, right?
exactly,
And that's
exactly.
wonderful. I think this is an opportunity for a new type of, um, I don't know, community culture to be created, to that we can help one another. and we can be really, really kind to one another. And then I think
Yeah,
not only for highly sensitive people, but for every single one of us to realign with our values and see whether there's
exactly.
any coherency between how we feel inside, what's essential to us, and what our life looks like. And if there's no coherency in there, then we need to realign somehow.
Exactly. And don't you think that this pandemic created that opportunity for all of us?
I absolutely believe the opportunity is there for each and every one of us to make a decision for our life and then to actually change the way society operates. I totally, you know this. These are my Buddhist values. I've been practicing Buddhism for 38 years. And I think, and this is also, this was the big motivator for me to start these conversations with friends around the world, because I think it's important for people not to feel they are alone, to feel that they belong, and that no matter, to have a truly inclusive society. And so dialogue, I think, is the way.
Exactly. Exactly. Because every time you have some kind of doubt about yourself, you start feeling isolated.
Right.
That's how I felt before I had this opportunity to stop and start doing research and understanding where all of these uncomfortable situations and feelings and circumstances came from. I felt isolated. And when you let that sink down, you can fall into depression, you can get ill. There are so many negative things that you are exposed to.
Yes.
If you don't catch that thing inside you that is bothering and start working in a positive way, saying, I need to understand what's going on, because once that I discover, I will have a lot more tools, to get rid of this sense of isolation. And that was so strong at the beginning of the pandemic, because the pandemic forced us to
Yeah.
stop our routine.
Totally. And I think
Yeah.
it's absolutely wonderful that you chose to use our chat to bring a little bit of hope and a
Oh,
little
yeah.
bit of knowledge and understanding. And
Yes.
so maybe we'll do some more research and see
Mhm.
how things evolve and maybe have another talk in a
Sure.
couple of months. What do you think, Vanny?
Wonderful. There are so many aspects, this subject that we can choose and develop in a different video.
Yes, I think so. And have you said everything you wanted to say? Have you shared everything you wanted to share?
Yes, just I want to send a lot of love and hope to all of my friends and all of the people that will watch this video, and say that there is always tomorrow as long as we give ourselves an opportunity.
Yes. And the other day I was recording a chat in French with a friend of mine who's a psychologist. And we were saying if you're feeling like, you're disconnected, isolated, you don't fit in, you don't belong, call somebody. Don't stay
Yeah,
on your own.
right.
Call a friend, call a family member. If you don't have anybody you can trust, there are many online
Yes,
contact numbers and different ways of reaching out. Nobody should be left behind or alone.
exactly.
As a society, I think we have this responsibility to take care of one another
Yes, yes. It start with ourselves, and as we feel better, we can start looking around,
and
helping
take care.
others.
Yes. And sometimes it happens at the same time because the moment you start caring about somebody else, your own pain is a little bit more bearable. So
Yes.
so I applaud you for this, Bunny, and I'm
Thank you.
very proud of your
Thank you, my friend.
journey. And let's
Thank
hope
you.
this encourages people. I
Yes.
thank you from the bottom of my heart and say thank you. Gracias.
Thank you. Thank you. We stay in touch.
Yes. Bye, Bunny.